Okay, so welcome to the fourth part of speech of 8 total. This part of speech is known as adjectives we're going to talk about today. Adjectives are words that describe nouns or pronouns. The next two parts of speech, this one and the next one, I refer to as modifiers. Now, modifiers are words that describe other words in the sentence. And there are two kinds of modifiers in our language, adjectives or adverbs. The next video will talk about adverbs. But the way we understand which modifier we're dealing with is based upon what question it's answering, or specifically, what word is it describing in the sentence. If it's describing a noun or a pronoun, and remember, pronouns replace nouns, so they function exactly the same in sentences. If a word is describing a noun or a pronoun, it is an adjective, okay? And adjectives describe, give more detail about those nouns and pronouns by answering one of 4 questions. They answer which one, what kind, how many, and whose, okay? So if we take a look at those 4 questions and we understand those 4 questions, we'll always be able to identify adjectives, because if an adjective is answering one of those questions about a noun or pronoun, it's an adjective. Okay? Examples: the, orange, special, many, colorful, Charlie's. Those are just some examples of countless adjectives you might encounter. And we're going to see how they each answer different questions, one of these 4 adjectival questions, in the sentences below. Before we begin, if I say that term, adjectival, I don't want that to confuse you or intimidate you. An adjectival question means it's just a question from this list of 4 because it is the question that the adjective is answering about the noun. Okay? So let's take a look at our first example. I would like the fresh muffin. If you take a look at that sentence, it has a subject. It happens to be a pronoun. That subject is I. And then what about the I? Remember from our previous video, that is the predicate. What about I? I would like the fresh muffin. So there's our predicate. Now within that predicate is muffin. Muffin is a thing. Remember, people, places, things, ideas are nouns. Muffin is a noun. And fresh, the word right in front of muffin, answers a question about that muffin. In other words, it gives more detail or describes that muffin. Not a stale muffin, not an old muffin, not a blueberry muffin, a fresh muffin. So fresh is describing the muffin. What question is it answering from the 4 adjectival questions? Hopefully you can see it's answering the question, what kind of muffin? A fresh one, okay? So it's answering that specific question about the muffin. Let's take a look at the second example. The blue coat is hanging in the front closet. In this sentence, we have 2 nouns. Hopefully you're getting better at identifying them. Coat is the subject in the sentence. It's what the sentence is about. What about the coat? It's hanging in the front closet. At the end of that predicate, is hanging in the front closet, we have a prepositional phrase that ends with an object of that preposition, closet. Okay? So coat and closet are both nouns. And just like the pattern in the first one, right in front of those nouns are words that describe those nouns. Blue answers what question about the coat? You could say which one. If you're looking at multiple coats in the closet, which coat is hanging there? Oh, it's the blue one. Or you could say, what kind of coat? Regardless, it doesn't matter how you're interpreting it, because both of them are adjectival, and therefore we know, because they answer those questions about the coat, that it is an adjective. Same with front. Front answers what question? Which closet? Not the closet in the hallway, not the closet in the hallway, not the closet in the back room, the closet in the front. Okay, the front closet. Now, let's take a look at the third example. 30 students uncomfortably sat in the cramped room. We have a noun that's a subject. The sentence is about students. What did they do? They uncomfortably sat in the cramped room. Okay, we also have a noun, room, in the predicate. Now, just like in the previous sentences, right in front of these nouns, we have adjectives. How do I know they're adjectives? They describe those nouns by answering one of the 4 adjectival questions. 30 answers what question about the students? How many? How many students? Not 100, not 10, not 3, but 30. What kind of room? A cramped room. Not a large room, not a spacious room. A cramped room. So if you take a look at these, we've covered what kind, which one, how many, and last but not least, let's take a look at whose. Diana's homework was completed. Now, Diana is a noun, right? It's a person. But there's an apostrophe S after Diana, which should be a signal that it's showing possession, right? So, homework is the subject in this sentence. The homework was completed. What about the homework? It was completed. So Diana's is doing what? What's its function in the sentence? It's answering the question, you guessed it, whose homework? Not Joe's homework, not Bob's homework, Diana's homework. Okay? So we covered all of the 4 adjectival questions. There's 2 little pieces of information I'd like to give you before we end the video. If we take a look at the last example, you'll see that there are no glaring, obvious adjectives in this sentence, but be careful. Look at our list up here of examples at the top. The is an example of an adjective. So we have the in front of teacher. We have an in front of answer. And we have a in front of student. They are all special kinds of adjectives. Those are referred to as articles. And articles do the same thing that other adjectives do. They answer which one, right? So not just any teacher in a room of teachers, the teacher, okay? Not just any answer, an answer, okay? So a, an, and the are articles. And if you hear that term, don't let it confuse you. They are also modifying nouns that they describe. Therefore, they are also adjectives. Okay? Now, hopefully you're picking up on a pattern here. In every single example on the board, you will see that the adjective is right in front of the noun. That's how our language is set up. Okay? Usually, words that are modifiers, and remember, we're saying adjectives are one of 2 kinds of modifiers, that modifiers are closest to the word they intend to modify, okay? And we always put adjectives right in front of the nouns. So the tall man, the skinny girl, etc., okay? There are exceptions to that, and I'd like to show you one, okay? If I said something like, the class is special, all right? We have a noun here, class, right? It's a thing in a person, place, thing, or idea, okay? Now, there is a word that's describing the class. It's answering what kind of class? Special. So special is modifying class in the same way that in the previous examples, Diana's is describing homework, or 30 is describing the students. But there's a difference. you'll see that it's not right in front of the word it's intending to modify. Instead, it's after the verb. It's part of the predicate, in fact. Remember, the predicate is the verb and everything that follows. So in this context, notice what kind of verb we have. The verb from our previous video does not show action. It is what's called a state of being. And because it is a state of being verb, also known as a linking verb, it's creating a complement. Remember, a state of being is like an equal sign. It's showing that the class is special. Class equals special. Okay? This kind of predicate, where you have a state of being verb followed by an adjective, is known, you would guess logically, as a predicate adjective. So when you hear the term predicate adjective, it simply means that there's no action in the sentence. There's a subject being defined or described in the predicate after a linking or state of being verb. Okay? So in this context, you will find adjectives not in front of the words they're intending to describe, but in the predicate adjective. All right? So we've covered adjectives in this video. If you have more questions about this or need other examples, additional examples, you can visit the link on the learning module to Grammar Revolution, which will show you different kinds of adjectives and other examples. Thanks for watching, and the next video we'll show you is the second kind of modifier, and that is the adverb.